Now, as confirmed earlier, national security operatives led an operation comprising a number of security agencies to rescue the two Canadian women who were abducted in the Ashanti region. The operation involved CID, BNI, and SWAT of the National Security and Defense Intelligence. No foreign assets, according to the Information Ministry, were involved in the operation. In fact, this is what the Information Minister of the Republic of Ghana not long ago told all of us at a press briefing. We'll be answering the unanswered questions related to that. And later on in our conversation, we'll be asking, what did the National Chairman of the NDC go to do at the police headquarters? Really, what's the importance of that particular invitation? And why was the NDC still insistent on not allowing its people help the security agencies in our quest to unravel one of the biggest crimes in the country, which is kidnapping, which is related to fires and other actions that's been suspected by government in various forms? Those answers will be sought to in this conversation. But before we start with my studio guests, let me get to the phone lines and speak to a man who is very much involved in the current conversation on the release of the Canadian girls. He is also the Vice Chair of the Defense and Interior Committee on Parliament. The Honorable Collins Osamankwah is my guest on the phone line now. Honorable, you're welcome to UPfront.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure.
This is good news, obviously, and between June 4th and June 12th today, almost 8 days, that seems to be some good work being done there. But can you help us appreciate the people, specifically the names of the people who were today arrested in connection with this act? We understand there were 5 of them being Ghanaians and 3 of them being Nigerians.
Thank you, and very good evening to your cherished viewers. I must say that as a committee, we are mandated by the Constitution and also the orders of Parliament to, as it were, examine all issues relating to defense and national security in general. But Raymond, when you ask me that I should give you the name, I'm sure that one is a president of Ghana Police Service, which is the main law enforcement agency in this country, to disclose that. And I don't know whether you could refrain your question.
Okay, now let me get this point clear, because this is one of the few instances, not the police, I'm talking about the minister has not given us names of people that they have arrested. In fact, in the Takrady case, Samuel Yudotok Mills, that's his name, was actually made known immediately he was arrested. Exactly what is the problem with releasing the names and identity of the people in this particular case?
Well, definitely, they will definitely release their name, but one of the leading gangs happened to be one guy, Sage. But let me leave that one for an appropriate, or those who are responsible to.
I get you, and that's an issue that I'm seeking to explore. Forgive me. You mentioned Seidu. Is it the Seidu in Ba or Seidu Yusuf gentleman we are talking about in this case?
Come again?
Is it Seidu in Ba?
Hello?
Can you hear me, please?
Hello, Raymond.
Yes, Honorable. You mentioned that one of the leading guys is one Seidu, and that gentleman's purported picture and identification has already been on social media. So, I mean,
yes, he's the one.
He's the one you're talking about in this case.
Yes, yes.
I want to be clear in my mind. Is it true that this Seidu Imba is a member of the NPP and also an affiliate of the political party and has been very active in the activities of the NPP?
Well, that is palpable for it can be true. To the best of my knowledge, I have had some level of, literal misunderstanding in terms of, party differences. He's a staunch member of NDC. He's a member of the opposition party, and he's a known NDC activist in Kumasi and also in Nasawati constituency. So even though he once served in his capacity as the polling agent for NDC, because I vividly remember that we had some banter during general elections. So for anybody to come out and say that indeed the young man, the member of the ruling party, it is very, very false.
Let me be clear in my mind. Which police station are you talking about, and in which specific constituency is this police station?
The polling station is New Tapu MA JHS Division School.
Okay, but New Tapu is not in Asawase.
No, New Tapu is in Menciano. What I'm saying.
Yes, so it's in your constituency. So that's why I'm confused that you are making reference to what they call it.
So what I'm saying that the young man resides in Asawase constituency.
Oh, okay, that's where he lives. Okay.
Yes.
But he worked for the NDC.
NDC, yes.
In which specific election are we talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about 2012, and even when I was the youth organizer for, I mean, he's a known NDC guy. So, but I don't want to narrow the discussion to political affiliation. Mind you, crime has no color. So let's deal with the criminal aspect of what he has done, than to narrow the discussion to whether he belongs to party A or B.
Do you think it was right that the names of all the people who were involved in this particular act were not put out there?
Definitely, police will come out with their name. So let's exercise some level of restraint. I mean, this is not new. Definitely, their names will be out for people to know that these are the fugitives who have been nabbed as a result of perpetuating this heinous crime against humanity. So we should be calm and allow them not to take its own course. I believe that in appropriate time, police will mention their name.
There are some loopholes I'm finding. I mean, of course, there are some things that need clarification on. For example, we are made to understand that, according to the minister who delivered the what they call it notice out there, that indeed there were gunshots from within the building, and yet one of the people within that same building was later on hurt. Did we, the team we deployed on the ground, which made up of the CID, the BNI, the SWAT of National Security, was there exchange of gunfire?
Well, now I'm sure you are calling for an eyewitness account. Raymond, I mean, they have been arrested, and that is the most important thing. Now the matter is under investigation, so we should, I mean, allow the security operatives to interrogate them further going forward.
Now, my very last question to you is, your committee will certainly be impressed with this particular output by the security agencies. There's a question that's on the minds of many too. How about the Takoradi girls?
Well, as for Takoradi girls, I must say that police, and for that matter, other security operatives are not relenting in their effort to fish out, those perpetrators. Notwithstanding, the prime suspect has been arrested in Togo. Now there's a lead, but I cannot disclose everything. Mind you, the kidnappers are also monitoring how things are unfolding. So I would say that let's repose or continue to repose our confidence in the security architecture of this country, and believe you me, they will definitely be brought to book.
Well, I guess we have to leave it off here. Many thanks to you for joining us on this one. This is the Vice Chair of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, and that particular committee had on several occasions indicated, especially for the minority side, that they will haul in the Ministers for National Security Interior to come and account for not only the missing girls, but what they consider to be the recent spate or increase in the number of kidnapping in the country. To put in perspective, the first 3 months of this year, if you check from 2014 to this year, the first 3 months had the highest number of kidnaps that the police recorded. That was 31. The closest to that was 2014 or 2015, to be clear. But that's not NDF figures. That's just a fair 3 months. And of course, the president has also been worried about this particular incident. We've heard that there were supposed to be other things that we'll be told later on. But what is being done to make sure that the issue is dealt with once and for all? Let me come back in the studio. My guest is the Director of Communication of the NDC. He's also a lawyer, and he's been very active in Ghanaian politics for a very long time. You're welcome, sir. His name is Kakresem. I'm sure by now you've seen him. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well.
We are surviving in this insecure country.
This country is insecure.
It is insecure.
Okay, I see. Now, let me go back. I will talk to you about what happened yesterday at the police headquarters. But let me start off with what's actually had the conversation on now. That is the incident that on the specific issue of the rescue of the 2 Canadian women and the address that the government gave today. So let me give you some more detail that perhaps you've not heard on this particular one. Okay. Yes. Now, let me quickly take you to listen to the information minister give you the details of what's supposed to be government's official statement on this matter, as was said earlier today.
National security operatives led an operation which comprised a number of security agencies to rescue the 2 Canadian women who were abducted in the Ashanti region on the 4th of June. The operation involved the CID of the Ghana Police Service, the Bureau of National Investigations, the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit of the National Security Council, and Defense Intelligence. No foreign assets were involved in the operation. I repeat, no foreign assets were involved in the operation. Now, since the day of the abduction of these 2 women, security operatives have been working their contacts with the hope of rescuing them. Intelligence gathering efforts enabled the security agencies to zero in on persons who were associated with the incident. At 1900 hours on June 11, 2019, the first arrest was made in connection with this incident. By 21:15 hours on that same day, one of the persons who is an accomplice or believed to be an accomplice directly involved in this incident was also arrested by the joint team running this operation. A local Ghanaian contact who was providing harboring for the kidnappers was apprehended around 20:45 hours that same night, leading to the arrest of other accomplices. The holding place of the victims was subsequently surrounded just before 5 a.m. this morning, and by 5:15 a.m., the joint team had breached the premises with the hope of rescuing the women. Gunshots were fired from within the premises, but the brief we have is that it took about 25 minutes to complete this operation. At the end of the operation, the 2 Nigerians who were holding the women had been subdued, and a 3rd Nigerian, believed to be the leader of the gang, was arrested later at a separate location. At the end, and currently, 5 Ghanaians and 3 Nigerians are in custody for this incident. One of the suspects is reported to have sustained minor injuries. Other investigations and possible arrests are still ongoing. The victims have been flown to Accra, are currently in Accra. They have been in contact with the Canadian authorities.
You welcome back. You heard there the information minister giving you details of this particular incident that happened earlier this morning, right from yesterday, late in the night, 7 p.m. through to 9 p.m. and actually this morning too. So the good news is that we have the Canadian girls rescued. The good news is also that we have some 8 people in custody, 5 Ghanaians and 3 Nigerians, and the leader of the gang, as has been stated to you, is a Nigerian in this particular case. So that's what a conversation is supposed to be. Mr. Samuel, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Good news for you, isn't it?
Yes, because as I said from the beginning, We are living in extremely troubling times, and insecurity is at the top of our problems as at now.
Obviously, the police and the security agents are in control and in charge of the situation.
Well, that is your view of the matter.
You don't think so?
Let us see what happens in the Takoradi kidnap cases, and then we'll be able to give a proper evaluation.
So until that happens, you cannot say that they are in charge of this particular situation.
In this particular situation, they have rescued the girls, and that's what they've told us.
Good news.
But you want me to make a value judgment? I'm not going to do it.
I'm asking you, like all other Ghanaians, to be able to say boldly that this is wonderful work done by our security institutions. And these are groups
I'm afraid I will not say it. And
groups that have been
I'll
lambasted in
I'll
times
tell
past.
you very quickly why.
Why?
What about the Tadi girls?
But is that the yardstick for determining
Yes,
success
because
in
they
one
are
thing?
Ghanaians. They are voters.
I see. So until we
And
get them
I
out.
get this impression that some people, particularly elements in this regime, appear to favor foreigners more than Ghanaians.
How do you
Where is Aisha One? Where is her sister? Tell me, you're also a Ghanaian.
No,
Where are they?
Aisha One was deported.
By who?
I mean, we were told that she had to leave the country after she was going through.
That is why I'm not giving a moral evaluation. Let us see.
You're saying that this happened
let
because
them bring home.
we favor what they call it.
Yes, this government appears to do so.
Foreigners.
Yes.
As against the people that they have a mandate to rule.
Very well. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, I see, I get you. Now, let me read to you specific sections of the statement that was issued by CBC. CBC is actually in Canada. It's one of their news outlets. Yes.
Yeah.
It says here that...
When was this issue?
Yeah, this morning, actually.
Very well.
So we're talking specifically about 6:03 a.m.
Oh, that's early.
Prior to what they call
The
it.
minister
Ministers,
said, yes.
It says that 2 women, Canadian women, who were abducted earlier this month in Ghana have been rescued and their names have been released. Ghana's Ministry of Information said the rescue operation was completed early Wednesday in the South Central Ashanti region. Now, the Canadian government said in an email to CBC that it's very relieved to confirm the release of the women whose names were disclosed. Of course, these names are actually out there, as were disclosed by the Youth Challenge International, a non-governmental organization they were volunteering. They are Lauren Tilley and Bailey Chitty. On its website, the organization said both women were getting support from professionals that were physically unhurt. The parents of both the young women have been in contact with their daughters at this time, and they wish to express their extreme gratitude to the Ghanaian police, the Ghanaian government, and the Canadian government for all their support and actions throughout this extremely difficult time. Now, there's an important part which seems to suggest in this particular end that this was clearly a collaborative act between Canada and Ghana. But the information minister clarified the position on this particular matter and said there were no foreign operatives involved. Indeed, he said there were foreign operatives in the country, but they were not involved in this particular operation.
I am tempted to ask you which of them you believe.
I'm actually asking you that question.
The sources from Canada or the information minister's statement. I'm tempted to ask you that.
Now, I'm asking you that question rather.
You see, I've already said that I don't want to make any evaluation of the rescue. I think we need more information. The first piece of information that ought to have been given to us was the names of those that they have arrested. They are not dead, for which reason you may probably have to inform the next of kin before you inform us of the identity and probably their roles in the crime. You understand? Let them give us the names. Let them tell us exactly what happened.
But you will not accept the reason being given
by the Minister for Information.
Yes.
I'll suspend my judgment in view of what the Canadians have said.
The reason here is that we need to do further investigations.
Yes.
And it's still early days yet for those who are being involved to be released out there.
Well, I don't understand your question. Are you saying that because we need to do further investigations, we don't have to bring out their names?
Yes,
but that's extremely unusual. Fortunately, you and I read newspapers. We listen to the news about things that happen elsewhere. Much more serious things. The very day that the person is in the custody of the police, his name is released. What is the difficulty in telling us who they have arrested? The Ghanaians and the Nigerians. What is the difficulty?
Now, this is because, earlier today...
And I actually heard him say that we should keep quiet. What does he mean by that? He's a lawyer. If anybody wants the Ghanaians to keep quiet, he must go for a court order. What does he mean by that?
He wants us to be circumspect, actually.
What is the meaning of I should be circumspect? I should speak out. Within the law.
The matter should be
He's a lawyer. If he doesn't want me to talk about it, he should go for a court order. Then I'll be bound by it.
No, but it says the media, commentators, and the public are encouraged to avoid speculation.
This particular government is very sensitive to media criticism. And you know
very sensitive.
Yes. Oversensitive, in fact. Hypersensitive.
Because they said that media commentators are
this is not the first time.
Encouraged.
What does it mean they are encouraged? You are encouraging me not to talk. On what basis?
You are encouraged.
On what basis?
No, not to talk. To avoid speculation, specific stuff. Be circumspect in commentary. This is because there are ongoing operations on similar matters that could be compromised.
Fine.
I think that the security of the state is more important. You agree, right?
The security of the state
is more important.
Hold on. Involves the full exercise of my full freedoms. I hope you recognize that.
I get that.
Very well.
But your freedoms in this particular case should be in
the Canadians are free.
Yes.
What else?
But other people are not free in this country.
Where are the tardy girls?
That's why you should be circumspect in the commentary.
He didn't tell us that we should be quiet because of operations regarding the tardy girls.
No, it said ongoing operations on similar matters.
Well, I don't know why I don't know what he means by similar. He should explain to us. That's what you think.
Obviously, we'll be kidnapping.
I'm not prepared to think for him. You should tell me what he means.
I see. Now, I will get to the other point, but before we move on, Collins Oppong Nkrumah's revelation about the identity of the gentleman who was the social media sensation, and I first saw his video and pictures on social media, until he is confirming now that the gentleman is one. Indeed, in the video, he was one of the people who was arrested in this particular case, and he's insisting that he was a member of your party. Indeed, he has mentioned a polling station, New Tafo MA, school of a sort. So there's an authority in there, a small school that there's a polling station.
Raymond.
That the gentleman was your polling agent in 2016.
Raymond.
It is in his constituency.
Never mind.
He said he's had altercations.
Let's assume that what he's saying is true.
You don't know that for a fact.
I don't.
Your party has not verified
Neither do you. Anyway.
No, but your party has not verified this.
Oh, please. They have not mentioned the names of those who have been arrested, have they? No,
they have not mentioned the names.
He's speculating.
Now,
hold on, I'm not finished. Why should the party that a suspect belongs to be of importance to an MP? Unless there must be some lacking guilty conscience somewhere.
Yeah, because your members of your party have also been sharing on social media.
He's a responsible member of parliament.
Yes.
He should also wait for the police to finish their investigations.
Yeah, but he was willing to help us on that one.
Why is he saying the things he's saying? As far as I'm concerned, he's extremely responsible on his part to do so, in view of what the police said.
But
and he's a member, he said he's a vice chairman of what committee?
Yes, the Defense and Interior Committee.
He should be more circumspect in the allegations he makes on air.
But if he knows the man, he shouldn't say.
Of course, I have some information.
He shouldn't say if he knows the man.
If he knows the man.
Yes.
We also know the man. We know him to be an NPP vigilante.
Really?
Yes.
How is that possible that one person is one time your, what they call it, polling agent, and at the other time a vigilante belonging to the ruling government?
Initially, that why should the fact of his political party leading be of importance to an MP?
It's not obvious that members of a party have been sharing that on social media too.
Why did it? I'm sure Minister Oppong Nkrumah must have seen this before he came to do the press conference.
Yes, but he didn't go in that direction.
Why?
He wanted to be more circumspect. It doesn't mean
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
What do you think?
Guilty conscience.
That he knows for a fact.
He knows for a fact, as at now, that that man is not an NDC member.
He knows for a fact.
He knows that for a fact. He's not a young man. Why didn't he say it? Why is Collins Oppong saying it?
Because he knows it better. Because he's an MP in the Eastern region. This man is an MP who has encountered a gentleman before.
The man who was speaking, the Minister of Information, before he opens his mouth to speak, he gets information from trusted, credible sources, including government agencies. He's not likely to tell a lie.
You're saying that he withheld information from us?
On a matter of the identity of a particular suspect. Why would he? If he says you and I should be circumspect, it only means that he's withholding certain information from us. Whenever anybody says that, that's what he means.
And that's the circumspection you see in this case. How about the fact that he doesn't want this politicized, that he believes that this is not a partisan issue, it's purely a crime matter?
I don't understand what is meant when people say that things ought not to be politicized.
As in,
what is,
it
please,
cannot be cast in the mode of party politics.
No, what is wrong with doing politics?
No,
sometimes you see
party politics in this case.
Please,
please,
can I go on?
Yes, but
sometimes
I need to put it in the proper perspective for you to respond to it. I'm saying that the history of the NPP and NDC in this country is that, one, when you tend to take your sides on these matters, the actual dealing of the criminal issues never get to happen.
Unfortunately, I didn't know this was going to be the angle, in the sense that when I was coming, my whole focus was what happened yesterday at the CID head office. So I forgot a few documents. But if I recall very well, the NPP manifesto for the 2016 election, page 147, you can check later, was on security.
Yeah, that's true.
And they accused President Mahama of being responsible for the insecurity at the time. Was that politics or not?
That's in there.
Was that politics or not? Are they surprised that people are doing this right now? Why should they?
Electioneering period.
Why should
it's not different from now. I mean,
I'm afraid
we move beyond that, don't we?
I'm afraid you ought to know by now that politics never ever stops anywhere there is competitive democratic politics. Never. You know by now. You're a senior journalist. You know what I'm talking about.
I get you, but I think that's the kind of departure that we've been talking about in this country.
Why should we depart from it?
Why should we depart from it?
Because human beings do not think alike. It never happens. Not even brothers and sisters or members of the same family. If they're expressing their differences, and peacefully so, I know it's not like they are pulled guns or knives. They are saying, oh, Raymond, me, I don't agree with you. This thing is red. And then you say it's green. What is wrong with that?
So specifically, what you mentioned was in chapter 14. And now I'm reading a part of the NPP manifesto.
Read that page on security.
It says that Ghanaians are becoming increasingly concerned about their security due to the increasing levels of crime and lawlessness under the Mahama-led NDC government. Today, Ghanaians do not feel safe. It says that the Mahama-led NDC government has failed the people of Ghana in terms of the security of the country and its citizens, and proceeds to say that our existing laws are largely not enforced, and when they are done selectively, often with much interference from the executive. And you continue to say what the NPP.
You should congratulate me for my total recall
of the manifesto.
The NPP manifesto, yes. It's there. They are doing politics with security.
But said they
are they telling me that I shouldn't? They said they'll do what?
They'll secure the security and peace of all Ghanaians.
You remember that you yourself started with statistics.
Yeah.
That the first quarter of this year has been the highest since 2014 with regard to kidnapping. Have they secured the security of Ghanaians? On that basis alone, would you say that they have?
Maybe the end of year figures will change.
Please, it's not a question of anything. We live from day to day.
Yeah.
You and I may not see tomorrow, unfortunately, because our lives don't belong to us.
Okay.
As far as we are concerned, as at now, looking at the first quarter data, are we secure
for kidnapping
as far as kidnapping is concerned?
I mean, it doesn't suggest so. I mean, it may also be a single blip in the figures, which cannot be
don't say that.
Anything that would determine
drinking. Please, it's not drinking soup. We are talking about the freedom, the liberties of individuals that have been taken away. Don't talk as if it's some trivial matter. No, it isn't.
No, I won't suggest so.
Any person kidnapped is an extremely serious matter. No, I'm not blaming you. I mean, I'm not really blaming you.
Yeah.
It's an extremely serious matter indeed. Anytime I think of the Tardy girls who have been kidnapped, sometimes I tear up because I can imagine.
Interesting.
Yes.
And it will lead me to the next conversation.
And yet, sometimes I can imagine if they were my sisters or my close relatives, would I be able to sleep?
When the national chairman of your party was invited nicely, was invited with a letter to come and aid the police do investigation on that matter, all that you did as a party was to say he's not going anywhere.
Let me tell you the position of the law before I come to politics, because you don't want to hear politics at first. If the police arrest you, Raymond Akwa, for an offense, you have no duty whatsoever to assist them to prosecute you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
please, do you understand? Please, do you understand what I'm saying?
I get you, yes.
If they invite you to assist them to prosecute even another person, you have no duty whatsoever to assist them.
Even as a citizen of this
you
republic.
have no such duty.
Even as a law-abiding citizen.
Because there's a rule.
As a patriotic citizen.
Are you listening?
Yes.
there's a certain rule that called the rule against self-incrimination. In this particular case, he was not being invited merely to assist. He was a prospective suspect. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
Because they said he was the brain behind the kidnapping.
That he has been mentioned by some
very
people
well, and the
already in
answers.
custody. Yeah.
But to talk about the particular incident that you are talking about, this is the invitation letter from the famous Tiwa Adudankwa. On
The CID
7th
boss.
Well, is that not her name?
Yeah, it's her name. But when you say the famous Tiwa Adudankwa, it sounds like a different person.
You know her. That's the most important.
That's interesting.
Mame Ya Tiwa Adudankwa. That's her name. That was the
Yes,
name that
I agree.
it's written in the law in the legal document. Is that not so?
Yes, that's it.
Mame Ya Tiwa Adudankwa. She wrote a letter inviting our chairman on May 7th to appear at the CID headquarters for interrogation and investigation. May 9th. The Council of Elders thought that their approach was wrong, and they said so. And there are many reasons why they say so, but I'll give you one or two. At the material time that they wrote this letter, Chairman Owosanpofu was already on trial.
On trial?
Yes, he was already on trial.
Okay, of course, there's a case that was running
Yes.
against him. Yeah.
So the convenient thing to do, if many prosecutors would choose that option, well, then look, let's go and we found some more charges. Let's go and add them to the charges that are already in court and continue. You can always amend the charges, even just before judgment. It is allowed. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
They decided to invite him. And we interpreted that act as an act with the intention to intimidate and harass our national chairman. And we said that he shouldn't go. If they want him, they should go for a warrant and come and arrest him. They took our advice, went for a warrant, and then they executed it yesterday. What has happened? Nothing. He's been granted bail.
Let me take a break. When we come back, I'll be asking you what really happened when Chairman of Owosanpofu went to the CID headquarters. After this break, we'll talk about that and many more.